I believed that there was a purpose and an origin in life, from life, but I did not contribute it to God. I did not accept the thesis that the starting of life was God-driven. I believed in the Big Bang theory, for example, which says that life began in a series of massive exponential explosions which produced all the matter of the universe. I rejected the idea of a creator. I marveled at the creation, and everyone thinks this is a sufficient reason to believe in God, but for me it was not a sufficient reason. Yes, the earth is marvelous, the laws of nature are beautiful, the complicated, even the single structure of the DNA, the double helix, it is a very beautiful thing, but it did not make me think that it had to be created by somebody. The sophistication of the natural process seemed to me sufficient to explain even the complicated and beautiful world of nature. So no, I did not arrive at a creator in my own thinking. I did not see the necessity for a creator. And I did not certainly see any evidence of someone overlooking his creation and following it through. So I never had any idea that God who started it was then looking after it and bringing it to an end. No, I had none of this. I saw no need for this hypothesis. When I was young, of course, I went to the Protestant church with my parents, but after I stopped going with them, I used often to go to Catholic churches for the art. I used to enter many cathedrals and examine the architectural structure of the building, the sculptures, the carvings, any interior paintings. I liked the church architecture. It seemed to me to have a calm and a grace and an authority which was arresting. So I liked to visit, when they were empty, I liked to visit empty churches. I never went to church when it was full. But yes, I did enter many churches, but for artistic reasons, for reasons of the history of that particular church, or for some artistic reason. Yes, in my philosophy studies I did a philosophy of religion section, but it only confirmed my atheism. It only confirmed me in my belief that religion is an hypothesis used to support a need, to fill a need, not a truth. It was not evident to me that philosophy, or philosophy of religion, could do anything to add to someone whose faith had already petered out and died. It did not resurrect any childhood faith that I had. It only confirmed me in my atheism. Oh, most definitely I believed that historically Christianity was a very bad thing, that it was responsible for many wars which otherwise would never have occurred. The wars of religion are legion. They exist from the beginning of time till now. For example, when I was growing up, the Irish hunger strikers and the Irish peace marches were set amid pitched battles between Protestants and Catholics in Ireland. When I saw the American flag and the American Protestant pride set alongside the war in Vietnam, I was disgusted. So I saw Christianity as a tool used by ruling powers to cover up their warlike imperialist aims against other peoples and cultures. Well, when we have to distinguish between the church and Christianity now. Now I see the church as still being responsible for all the blood that was shed. But the church is not Christianity. Now I make a difference between Jesus and his disciples and those of us who follow in their steps, in the footsteps of the Master. This is Christianity. The church is something else. One of the reasons I'm happy to be in the Coptic Church is that the Coptic Church has very, very little blood on its hands, if any. Mostly the Coptic Church has been persecuted rather than persecuting anybody else. But very few churches can say the same. So as churches go, the Coptic Church is quite respectable because it is historically a victim rather than an oppressor. But I still see no reason to change my opinion that the effect of the hierarchical ecclesial church of the West has been a good thing. No, I don't think it has been a good thing. I think it has been a disastrous thing. Christianity itself is the most beautiful and the most elevating and most heart-saving thought system that has ever been produced. God's message through His Son to save mankind is a completely different message than the hierarchical Christian church. So I would very insist on this difference between what you see around you as church and what you feel in your heart when you know Christ. Having said that, we can come the full circle, and when you know Jesus, when you believe in Christ, when you believe in God's plan for mankind, then you can find in the liturgy of the church, you can find in the sacraments of the church, an expression of spiritual truth in material things which helps and lifts people and gives people hope. So when you go to a big cathedral and you see an Orthodox bishop praying the liturgy, you feel that matter is glorious. You feel that material things can serve God. So I love and respect the church in its sacramental presence. But historically, there's a lot of reservation still in my mind. In my life, I suffered at the hands of other people, and I suffered from my own doubts and fears and my own weaknesses and follies. So I suffered both externally and internally, and I never felt that I could go somewhere into the sky and find somebody who would help me. God was not a presence in my life. He was not near and close beside me. I never saw Him standing to protect me when boys hit me. I never saw Him come and hold my hand when I was bleeding in my heart. I never felt this. I suffered for years, from 10, 11, 12 till early 20s, and I never found any consolation offered me in God or His so-called presence. So my atheism was not just intellectual, but it was also emotional. I felt myself utterly alone, and I felt no hand extended, only the hands extended to push me down, not to lift me up. So God was nowhere in my estimation. For this I have to explain how I became Christian. This will take some time, so I will embark on this now and I will tell you the story. I did visit India for some time in my youth, and I did read a lot about Buddhism. So these two Eastern religions I did search to see if they could provide some answer. Like many of my generation, I followed the Beatles into their exploration of Hinduism, and then the very favorable reception that Buddhism received in the West, not only from the Dalai Lama's visits, but also from general writing by Western people. But it was a taste only. I didn't arrive at any deep personal commitment to either of these two religions. And I continued atheist, I continued romantic in my own dreams, until my mother died. When my mother died, it left a hole in my life, not because of her so much, not because of her personality so much, although she was a good woman, but what hit me was that I had no mother, I had no source. You asked me about, did I understand the idea of God as the source of life, as the creator of life? Well, I felt after my mother died that I had no origin. My source, the reason for my being had disappeared. The one who gave me birth. This had been cut away, taken away. With my mother's death, I lost my firm balance on it. I could nowhere to walk on the earth. And I became disoriented. I became lost, even more lost than before.